Hello, everybody. This is Anand Sharma from CXOTV.news, a flagship brand under the umbrella of Techplus Media Group. A warm hello and welcome once again to everybody. This is the third year of our webinar series titled Marketing Mondays. We have been touching upon various topics of interest to the marketing fraternity, and you can watch all the past events on demand at www.cxotv.news. Today's topic is learning for CMOs from marketing disasters around the world. Well, we keep bumping into one or the other stuff which is unplanned. It is just certainly dependent on us whether we make use of it and turn it into an opportunity or cut a sorry face and let the disaster happen. Marketing disaster is an expensive affair because it can cause heavy, very heavy damages to the entire organization. Let's learn about what's going to make a difference and what's not. We have an eminent panel today to guide us through some of such queries, what to and how to of marketing disasters, how to avoid them, how to ensure that disasters don't happen. Let me request the panelists to do a self-introduction. We have Vinny Sharma, Marketing Director, APAC and Middle East at Securonix. We have Ms. Scindia Balasingh, Head of Global Marketing, Vajro. And we have Neha Jamwal, Senior Marketing Manager, APAC at Neo4j. So, going by the alphabetical order, Neha, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anand, and thank you, CXO TV, for inviting me to the panel. This is a great chance to see all of my peer group and Anand to you. Yeah, so I work with Neo4j. I'm managing their marketing for APAC, Asia Pacific, based in India. I've been doing marketing since last more than 15 years now, and I can say that my true passion lies into marketing. I love talking about it. I love, maybe that's why CXO TV is asking me to do these panels because they know I'm very chatty about marketing when it comes to these panels. So thank you again for calling me.
Thank you. You're welcome, Neha. Scindia, do you want to go next?
Yes. So I recently joined Vajro to head their global marketing. Prior to this, I was heading ISV strategic partnerships and GSI partnerships marketing at Freshworks. And prior to that, I was again heading marketing for Reddington, and I started my career with Blue Star again as a marketing manager. So through and through, like 12 plus years all along in marketing with various industries, right from consumer durables to IT, distribution to SaaS, and now I'm here. I'm very passionate about marketing, women leadership. That's why I have my own podcast called Leaders, where every week I used to, I'm still doing that. Every week we interview a woman series. I'm not great host like Anand though, but still I host a lot of women leaders and have a lot of strong stories about them. So to tell about me in short, my mantra is always like learn, grow, and implement. So I'm still learning, and all these forums are a great learning platform, I believe so. And thank you, Anand, for this opportunity once again.
Thank you, Scindia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm humbled. Vinny, you want to go next and give your introduction, please?
Sure. I am Vinny Sharma. I head the marketing for Securonix. Securonix is a security and analytics event management organization. We are a global company based out of US, and I take care of their marketing for Asia Pacific and Japan. And firstly, I would like to thank Anand and CXO TV for giving me this opportunity. Obviously, I would be sharing my knowledge, whatever I have gathered over the years around marketing. But obviously, I'm keen to hear from my, esteemed panelists today, Neha and Scindia, that what they have to say about the topic that Anand has, would be talking more about. and would like to learn, because I think everything that we do, whether it's an event, whether it's a panel or anything, there is a takeaway, there is a learning that you get from everything that you indulge yourself in. And I have 18 plus years of experience. I've been in the cybersecurity domain. Prior to Securonix, I was with Infoblox and ForcePoint. And prior to that, I was in the networking industry with Brocade, which is now Broadcom. So that's about me, and really looking forward to this great discussion. Thanks, Anand.
Thank you, Vinny, and welcome on board once again. Guys, I'm delighted and honored to have all three women power leaders on the panel today. And the general disclaimer goes: the thoughts exchanged on this platform by the panelists are their own and may not represent or subscribe to the organization they work with. So thank you once again, Neha, Scindia, and Vinny. To start with you, Neha, and as you know, I always love starting with basics. Let's define what is a marketing disaster.
I will get to further basics saying that what is marketing? Marketing is backbone these days. If we look at any organization, we are at hyper digital world right now, and marketing is playing the key role to place everyone in the front, right? While most of the marketeers love being creative and adventurous, sometimes things may go south, right? We all try to be we all love our jobs. We passionately try to design these campaigns which are through which we are reaching the audiences, but I would say that keeping the eye on price is an essential, while sometimes we are more driven around different aspects, whims and fancies of designing things. We come on, we all see the ads and banners and lots of things which we love, and then there are things we don't. So there are some marketing disasters, and I think the key aspect of is when we forget the idea that which is to sell the issue you're solving and not the product, right? So more talking about the value of your product and solution than the product itself. So that's one of the biggest I think I can highlight is the marketing disaster.
You're saying the business problem that you're trying to solve, right?
Yeah.
Not just pumping chest as to this is what I have, this is what I have, and I'm the best.
Like if I keep talking about my product and keep showing people the demos, and I'm a tech marketer, I've always been working with tech, so I know and talk more about tech. So if I keep pushing people towards some demos or key things that these are the highlights of my product, these are the features of my product, but then not telling you that what exactly this product is going to help you with, what is the challenge which you're having, which it is going to solve. So we sometimes just forget the focus, and the eye is not on the price. That's what I mentioned when I said the most essential thing is to keep the eye on the price, which is value selling. Yes.
Absolutely. And yes, in technical market, the value-based, if I say pricing, is also something which we go for, right? We don't go for cost-based pricing or something else. So,
absolutely.
Cool. Scindia, over to you. How to sensitize the team? The marketing team I'm talking about. Or if you want to broaden the reach to entire organization about the impact of a marketing disaster, because many often the marketing or the marketeer, the market leader is pushed, mandated by the executive committee or the management to do this or do that. When the marketeer knows fully that it's gonna be disaster, right? So how to sensitize that team? You can talk about any team you want.
First, I would relate this with a personal example I went through. So prior to
Sure.
that, I want to take a step back. See, for any team member or for any organization, this is how it has to go. An individual OKR, they should know how it is solving the larger puzzle of a team, how my individual OKR is contributing to the overall team OKR, and how the overall team OKR is contributing to the organizational OKR. This visibility need to be there for each and every member of the organization. So I always say that, zoom in and zoom out. So they should be able to know when to zoom out and see the larger picture and when to zoom in and carry out the transactional picture. If this is a major responsibility of a manager or a leader to communicate to their team. Unfortunately, in the fast moving era and the high pressure environment, sometimes we tend to give instructions to the team on a passerby nature. And what happens there is they go and execute as you say instead of thinking about a larger value or larger deed. So I'll quote a personal example in my team which happened. When I was executing in a campaign for travel and tourism in the COVID, obviously it's remote working and so much of pressure. We want to do so many things. So I was just telling them to execute on a campaign, and they went and hired an agency to come, and they gave me a quote like 60K India and this many leads, 1,000 leads, something we are going to get, and this is the CPL, and everything went. I gave go ahead, and when I was reviewing, we were not getting that much of traction and number of leads as we expected. So when I went on call with that particular agency, they said we never give hard commit. It was always told that this many impressions will be there and conversions are not on us, and your content have a problem, hence it is not performing. So I took a very hard stance on them and I said that 60K we are investing on you and so much I'm expecting from you. How can you irresponsibly tell? They just opened the contract, they just opened the mail exchange and told very clearly that this is what we declare, that if your content performs, this is an average number of leads you will get, but not we guaranteed this many of leads. To be honest, my heart stopped because that was the biggest investment, and I went ahead and committed the management. This is what we are going to do. Obviously, I went bonkers on the teammate who took a call, lot of calls up and down, and finally I threatened the agency with the long-term relationship we are having, and at least to an extent we curtailed, but still it was a disaster. But end of the day, the learnings I got from that is maybe it was my fault also not to tell them that our engine has been gold on the CPL. And we have been always told in the team that we are the lowest CPL for the organization. So if I would have made that sensitivity a little bit longer and larger, maybe the team member would have never made that mistake. She would have gone with a hard commit, but not with a soft commit. So then and there, I realized a very important lesson. Every team meeting, I used to tell the overall objective, where are we fitting, and for that, what we should do. So I urge the team also to ask the question, why are we doing it? If you don't know why are we doing it, please ask, because it is very important for us to know where we are fitting in the larger part of the puzzle. So that's the important learning I had. And the sensitivity to the team, it's not about marketing disaster in general. To avoid any disaster of the activities we are performing, it is important to have a proper communication and a proper framework in place.
Okay, great. I'm taking my notes. Thank you so much, Scindia. Vinny, coming back to you, can we measure or quantify marketing disaster? That, oh, that was a small one, and that can be hushed, and this is a big one, and this is a middle one. This is something which is mediocre, which is can we do something like that, or is something?
I think what I understand from the term disaster is something like, a great misfortune, right? Which in our terms, I wouldn't say that, it would be a disaster. I think it would be, I would rather term it as a wrong approach taken, because there is a lot of multiple factors involved when you plan a marketing campaign. And I think ideally that should be the way it is, because it is not only the decision of marketing to, go ahead and invest in a campaign, in an event, in an account-based marketing project, in a lead gen campaign. But I think it should be a holistic approach of my sales team, my the objectives that we have been given to us that we need to achieve, and the marketing team, right? So I think my approach is, and I'm sure that all of us marketers, we try and test different things at different point in times, because if we don't try and test, then what is the point of redoing the same stuff? Because every time, even if you redo the same campaign 100 times, you're not going to get the same results every time. Maybe you're lucky like 50 times out of 100 times, I'm saying on a higher side, but the other 50 times you're anyways going to fail. So it is very imperative that we don't put our eggs in one basket, right? We spread it out. And I have taken those risks many times by leveraging or some new initiatives, some new models that have come in marketing. But I've always taken an approach where I have run smaller campaigns. I have invested a very smaller amount on those campaigns, so the impact is not large. Okay. I always try to, test and then go ahead depending on the success. And also, it is very important for people around me to understand. I, as a marketer, would understand the terms like demand generation or SEO or something, but does my sales team understand? All they want is, at the end of the day, pipeline. The question comes at pipeline, but the discussion is that when we are discussing the campaign, they don't understand the nitty-gritties, right? All they want is that let's go and do it because I have a gap in my pipeline. But these way, if I'm testing something small, they will see the results, and while I am in the process of completing this campaign, they will also understand that what is it that is required from their end, right? There are things that you always require from sales, but they always make a face at the end of the day because we are closing a deal or we are doing something very, very important, and this can take a back seat, right? But when it comes to our QBRs, it's easier to put a raised finger on marketing that they invested so much, but we didn't get anything out of it, right? So I always believe in one step at a time. I don't think so there is any disaster in marketing. I always think it's a learning and you move forward. But, test it out with a smaller investment. If you feel that it's worth the dime that you are investing, then move forward. And I personally had a lot of wrong approaches, but that gave me the learning to move ahead and be successful over a period of time, because I also need to learn as a marketer. Like the sales guy, every deal the sales guys do or every customer they talk to, they don't convert it into a sale, right? There are a lot of failures there also. It's same for all of us. I hope it answers the question.
Yes, absolutely, Vinny. Spot on. Thank you so much. So, we covered broadly as to, what is a marketing disaster and how do we measure it, how do we avoid it. Okay. But next round of question is, I've kept it very simple, wherein I'll request you to share from your own experience, whether it is your experience or whether it is your colleagues' experience, which you have witnessed, and the learnings from them, right? And it can be, if you want, it can be one from your close experience, or one can be from public experience, which is in the public domain, if you want to share. So we'll go with that, so that people can learn from actual life scenarios, basically, right? So Neha, starting with you, why don't you share an experience and the learning as to what was learning from the disaster, or if disaster looks to be a heavy word, you can choose a smaller word, like let's say marketing mistake.
Yeah. So I totally agree with what Vinny, said, that there are no disasters in marketing, but learnings. Fortunately, I think I have been very lucky in my career so far not to witness something personally which is a disaster. But yes, we all have seen. I have seen a lot of things around me happening, which we later, got resilient about, and we later felt that okay, this needs to be taken care of, or we learn from those mistakes. while we're planning our next engagements. I can mention many, but at this panel, maybe I'll highlight a couple of it. So one key thing which I want to mention here is drifting the focus from the target audiences. As I earlier also mentioned, that sometimes we go on and we carry on with a lot of whims and fancies about this hyper digital world we are in. Uh, and the markets are getting bigger and wider. The audience segment is getting wider day by day. Like as we speak now, there must be so many people who are scrolling through many social content or to many websites, downloading papers. So now how about marketeer planning their approach to reach out all of this audience, right? That is very important to segmentize, understand what is your business need, who are the right people who will be listening to you. As I also mentioned earlier, that we see lots and lots of content which we love, and sometimes we just don't enjoy watching an ad or maybe a banner. Why? Because we have our personal uh, outlooks and we have our thought processes. Culturally, there are a lot of diversity, and if we talk, the topic is global marketing. So if I talk about global marketing as an APAC marketeer, we see different cultures in every country, in every state in India. If I talk about, people are sensitive towards so many content, so many things which we just place. So it's very important for a marketer to learn from the learning from the mistakes which has happened in the past. While few of them might have touched someone's sentiment regionally, socially, we talk a lot about diversity these days. So take care of all of those things while planning your designs or campaigns or banners, how you're reaching out to the audiences. For an example, if I am doing a campaign which is very centric to Indian audiences, I usually use an Indian face and not someone from the West, talking about that particular thing. So that should show on my banner, not something which is not too relatable. And likewise, if it is a market which is very religious sensitive, or maybe gender diversity sensitive, we take care of all of these things while planning the content, planning the banners, the images we use, all of that. So that is one key area which I again say which is not to drift from the focus and the right audiences. Also to plan at right time. So plan your right content at right time. If I'm talking about which is for if there is a product launch, I'm again getting into my technology marketing hat. So if there is a product launch which is a winter product launch, and I am doing that's happening in US maybe in winters, and I'm doing it in India maybe in March, which is no longer winters for us. So we'll have to be very specific about right time, right target audiences, right messaging. So yes.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and the entire world is aware of the Tanishq, challenge,
Yes.
which Tanishq threw itself.
I'm sure that came from great set of marketers. I would never say names. Like I just mentioned that we see a lot happening around us every day.
So there are a couple of I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but there are a couple of instances wherein it's very open in the market, right? And there's no reason why we are not shying away from recognizing them or not recognizing them. For example, Nestle, the way Maggie thing shaped out, right? Everybody thought that perhaps that's the end of the Maggie brand, right? But then it rebounded, isn't it? So there are good positive and negatives, right? So okay, so cool. Thanks, Neha. That was nice. Scindia, moving on to you. You may wish to share your experience in learning.
Of course, I'll go with again some of the campaign where personally made disaster or personally being a victim of a marketing disaster. So One campaign which we did, it was for the sales folks across. The persona was chief sales officers. You know how difficult it is to conduct a global marketing campaign, right? It's a global panel, and we had some 1,000 registrations on board, and that was the first biggest panel for me. And we got 4 partners to come on board along with us, and we are going to talk about the solution. It was about to go on live first, but we did with a third-party association. It's a sales association we did with. So they initially told it to be a live webinar. Then they said to avoid any misfortunes during this thing, because you have had so much of registrations. So it is better we do a pre-recorded one and we will broadcast at the same time. So I found it fair enough. So we pre-recorded it. There itself, a lot of miscommunication, partners in the time zone miscommunication, because they each one from different geography, because we wanted to bring in the diversity element in terms of race and everything. So it was a nightmare to organize that recording. Finally, it was all successful, and we were wanting to go live, and I was sitting at 12:30 to aim to see how many people are attending and how it is going. And you know, guess what happened? After taking all the precautions, everything done, different webinar was airing at that time. So I was shocked. I was like, where is my company logo? What happened to that webinar? I was so tensed. And I was, because it is not only our company, right? We onboarded 4 of our integration partners also. So I was mailing that fellow in US, and he was coolly replying, sorry, I can't stop the webinar now. Let's see later what to do. I was like, what? Partners are pinging me, internal sales people are pinging me, my boss is pinging me, and it's like 12:30 a.m. and I was like,
Your
what?
entire reputation is at stake, basically. Yeah.
Sorry, come again, Nana.
I'm saying your entire reputation is at stake.
Reputation is at stake. I can't like a kid go and say a third party made a blunder by airing a wrong webinar, right? I don't have a backup plan. So that day I realized whatever you do, right, it can go wrong, but we need to be prepared. Maybe if I would have been prepared for a backup plan, I didn't know what to ask from that third party now. Should I ask for a re-webinar? I can't do the re-registrations, right? Or should I do it something free for our partners? That third party was not ready. So I was only thing, like, if anything goes wrong, we didn't even get the commitment from them what they will do. Right? They just said that, okay, we will mail everybody for on-demand consumption. It was a horrible experience for, first of all, for people who registered and come there and see a different thing. And after that, they will be so eager to open your email and watch that again on the on-demand. I don't think so. But the whole money went for a toss, reputation went for a toss. That goes on for a lifetime experience for me. So whenever I go and do something with the third party, I'll say that we will host it. It's okay. You do the audience generation for me, you take care of the attendees. I have never given for anybody else to host our webinars after that, because such a disaster. So
No, it's very courageous of you, Scindia. Yeah. Go ahead.
that one great learning I had was, it is always not because of you it will happen. Right? How much ever consciousness you have, as much dependency you have outside, there is more chance for a disaster too. So that was the learning I had.
No, absolutely, it's very courageous of you to share an example from your own, career. Okay, it reminds me of one challenge wherein we faced at Techplus Media. So we also keep doing events. We do industry events. We do large scale events wherein we get somewhere around 10,000, 15,000 delegates. Okay, virtually, and we also do custom made events like Scindia you were mentioning. 4 to 5 panelists, and we're 1,000 registrations, and some 200 attendees, or 300 attendees, those type of things. Recently, we planned an event, and the plan was that there'll be internal speakers from my client and from their partner, but then there'll be one industry speaker. Okay, fine. So whenever we do an event, we always keep a backup industry speaker as well. Okay, And of course, you can't go ahead and tell anybody that you are a backup speaker. So you invite two people basically instead of one. Right? So in case one is not available, the second one is there. Can you imagine on the event day, just before 20-25 minutes, both of them backed out. Okay. One said he has a family emergency. His wife fell down from the stairs and has God knows broken how many this thing. So he's rushing to the hospital. Okay. You can't say anything, right? You can't say no, forget it. Do my webinar. Right. Another person says that the entire office is in a mess because there's a huge escalation. The largest client CEO has escalated, so everybody is in the war room right now. So forget about it. I'm not available anymore, for today at least, right? So and because we had relationships, we are a media company, right? So we have deep relationships with most of the CXOs. So we know those people that they're not the type of people who will ditch at the last moment, right? But then sometimes you can't do anything. And believe me, we had planned for 250 registrations. We had 450 registrations. Okay, so the registration amount was huge. That means not many people were anxiously waiting to attend that. So what we did was, and I'm sharing my experience. Sorry, Scindia, I'm getting carried away from your real life experience which you shared. So what we did was we did that event without the external speakers. Okay, we said that yes, we announced that the external speaker had some challenges, and we tried to loop them in at a later date, perhaps in a week's time or whatever. But we did that event so that at least the partner and the other people who are there, at least those space can speak to the 450 registrations. So somewhere around 150 people joined in. So sometimes they do go haywire. Sorry, Vinny, I took over your this thing. Please provide your insights from your experience and learning.
No problem, Anand. Good to hear from all of you. So I think in one of my earlier organizations, there is a survey-led engagement that we had done with one of the biggest analyst firm across the APAC region. And this decision of doing the survey-led engagement was being taken by the APAC team. We were informed, but we were not a part of the decision making that, why do we need to do this? So this survey was around digital transformation. Okay, what does the CIO and the CISO fraternity think about digital transformation? Where are they in the phase of digital transformation? Are they comfortable moving on to the cloud, or they are still comfortable with the old traditional ways? So that was a survey. And there were a lot of components that were part of that campaign that post the survey. There would be, roundtables happening in all the countries across APJ. There would be some webinars happening across the APJ, and we would get an X number of leads out of that entire activity. And survey, as you all understand, is a long drawn activity, right? And as a part of that survey, there was some dependency on the sales team to reach out to our existing customers to take their inputs also, which kind of was the centerpiece of the results that were going to come out of that survey. And we set off everybody on a happy note that we're going to kill it, and this is great. We made a big investment and everything. So as we started, and sometimes what happens is when there are so many dynamics involved in a bigger investment, you sometimes miss out on the smaller nitty-gritties or the terms and conditions of what is written under that, right? And when you are executing and you expect a certain outcome that you need, or the support that you need from the agency or the analyst firm or whomsoever you're working with, then they come back with those terms and conditions that we will only go to a certain mile, and this we had already intimated you, and this is the expectation that we have from you. And if you don't give us what we require, then we would not be liable for the results that you would be getting, right? And that's with many of the agencies that they have, that there is some kind of dependency that is there. I'm sure our APAC team would have thought it through. They would have thought that we would get the relevant outcome from inputs from our customers and everything. But when we started reaching out to our sales team so that they can help us to introduce us to their customers, and then set up an interview between the analyst firm and the customers, we were surprised that we got such a pushback from the sales. And it's not their mistake, because there were a lot of back end support issues that were ongoing with a certain set of customers, where we were very, very confident that we'll be able to pull off the inputs very easily from them, right? And I think that's where, coming back to the same point where I had started with, that for everything we have to work as a team. If we work as a standalone partner, then at times there would be issues that would be cropping up over a period of time. So we were not able to get those customer interviews, because obviously if the customer is not happy with the solution, the customers that you have chosen for, because those are the bigger customers, those are the names which they will reflect, it would take you to another level, because customer is if it's a happy customer, that's a great brand ambassador for you, right? Because nothing like whatever SEO you get it done, whatever. But if a customer speaks good about your organization, the peer community listens. We all are going to say good things about our organization because we are paid for it, right? We would always say good things about our organization. But if a customer says good things about our organization, it makes a hell lot of a difference. So I think that's where the campaign got a little. I wouldn't say the campaign was a failure. The campaign ended up pretty well, but it could have, the outcome could have definitely gone a notch up if we would have gotten the relevant reviews from the customers that we chose to go ahead. And one of the hitches was that the sales team was never, by our APAC team, the sales team was never put into the picture right from the beginning. They got into the picture while we needed them. Okay. So that's where there was a little bit, a gap, a communication gap, which led to, we can make up the, there can be a lot of stopgap arrangements that can be made, to fulfill the objective that you need to reach out, right? But as the custodians of marketing, we know that if we would have got what we wanted, then the results would have been purely different. The ROIs would have definitely been different, and that would have been a different. In the heart of hearts, what you wanted to achieve, what you desired, but what you have got is something that you say that, okay, maybe next time I'll do better, but this is not what I expected. So I think this was one of coming back to that, the approach should have been better right from the beginning, and the end result would, instead of we get ending at 80%, we would have ended at 110% if everybody had been on the same page.
Sure. No, valid point, Vinny. I think perhaps proper RACI in place, as well as participative style of management, wherein you it's inclusive style basically, right? Would have made more difference, or would have made some difference to the entire experience that you shared. Cool. We are wrapping up almost. So Neha, any further experience you want to share, or any tips you want to share with the audience?
Yes. So Anand, I think we've come to the point of discussion where we're talking more about challenges and learning and not disasters, which reminds me of one story which I witnessed and experienced. And very funny, so I would like to share it with you all. So how we plan our events, right? While planning the audience acquisition, we always know there is an attrition, which is going to be like, I'm talking about the pre-COVID era, where when we used to think that like it's going to be 40%, 35-40% of attrition is going to be there. So there was this event which I was planning, and I was prepping for some 300 audience size for, you know, to keep it in check. So your hotels, your everything is booked as per that. Your seating capacity, your event space is all around that kind of, you know, audience numbers. But of course, we went, like you said, that sometimes we plan a backup. So I planned a backup and I went like 40% above the registration count. And then thinking that, of course, it's Mumbai, there's going to be lots and lots of attrition. But what happened was we had 90% turnaround. So, so for the hall size of 300, we had almost over 400 people attending the show in the morning. And it was a good challenge, but it was a big challenge for me at that time. I've always been blessed by all of these partners on field, the agencies I work with. They're all like, I can just depend on them, but it's just that you have to take control. You have to lead the show. You have to tell people, because everyone is blank at that time. There are situations which are controllable, and then
What did you do, Neha? What did you do at that point of time?
So we had set up a projector which was outside at the hotel, you know, the exhibition area. We had set up a projector, put few chairs around there, and then I literally went to the hotel. Please, we need more food. What are we gonna do about it? So you know, all of that.
Or you tip the receptionist that you know, do remind every visitor, sir, are you sure you don't have an important meeting that you're missing out today?
I'll tell you, I investigated that what has happened, because it's very highly unlikely you were you're very confident about the attrition sometimes. So I went, and what happened? Why did people, you know, turned around? So, to realize that there was no event happening in Mumbai around those 3 weeks. Yeah. So there was something like, you know, there are times we have Ganpatis and all, and people just refrain planning those events. So there was no events happening. So people want, you know, this was one thing where people could network, could consume the content, could meet. So I think that was one of the reasons which justified all of that.
I'm sure you charge premium to your clients as to, you know, hey, you know what? I got 90% of people as compared to 40% of people.
No, that is definitely, but yes, that is one of the success story, a challenge, or maybe if you want to call it a disaster, which turn around really well at the end.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Thank you. Scindia, anything from your end?
So recently something happened. Now only the offline events and all started. So we went and participated in an industry event because for our company there is a slight challenge of getting the right ICPs to participate in an industry event because we are pretty much niche. So after a great evaluation, we know that all our ICPs are inside. We went and participated. We took a grand stall. We made a lot of this thing, everything. Mumbai again. And I was sitting along with my sales folks, and there's nobody walking into this stall. So almost like half a day, why conferences are keep happening, when they will give break, when people will visit our stall. So I was so irritated, and beyond a point, I just went and asked that organizers, hey, what is this? You know, we thought a lot of footfall will be there. And so they said, no, it's a conferencing event, ma'am, and your sales guys have to be aggressive and go and network with people. If you go and see, a lot of people are already networking inside. Then I went inside and saw everybody was having their visiting cards, brochures, standing and talking to people, and we were not aware of it. So it took half a day for us to realize only, okay, in this event, people will not come to your booth. You need to go distribute pamphlets, bring people to your stall. So almost half a day we lost in that. And we didn't know this because of that, we took people who can convert the prospects for walking inside by showing a demo. So these people were not the kind of people who can go and randomly introduce to people, say hi, hello, and strike a icebreaker conversation and bring them to the conversation. We didn't brought that kind of people. So literally for a second, I forgot that I'm heading global marketing. I'm doing everything. I just went back 10 years back and I took the brochures and visiting cards. I went everywhere and was giving to people. I was introducing myself and said that, why don't you come? We will discuss in the stall. Literally, I was bringing people to the stall and then they converted. So it was like kind of a big learning for me after so many years that not all events are same. You need to understand the nature of the event sometime and bring in the relevant people in the stall or to the conferences rather than standardly going by like any industry event. This is the booth. We had big cupcakes with our logo, a lot of engagement activities. Nobody was ready to play or consume the cupcakes or anything. So it was for a different crowd where we are expecting a lot of footfall for this thing. This is totally a different where actually I did not spend so much on the stalls. Rather, I could have spent money on bringing the right sales people to the event and had more conversation. Maybe I could have got more conference passes than putting a grand stall. So I never thought after doing some 400, 500 events, I would still get a learning like this. So that's the recent disaster of learning I had.
It does happen. Once there was an event in Gurgaon, and I was in the company I won't name. But then the team was very hell-bent that there's no point in going in and attending that event. And somehow I was very convinced that we should go there. So we took 2 passes, okay, for our people to go and attend the event. For some reason, I'm still not very convinced. For some reason, both the people didn't come to office that day. Okay. So I said, okay, time to roll up my sleeves and get into action. I went ahead and attended that event, and I took one colleague along with me, and we could generate good amount of leads from there. Okay. So my style of working was I passed on all the leads to both the salespeople both the marketing people who were supposed to go but didn't go. I passed it on to them in the sense that these are your leads, so go ahead and nurture them. So sometimes, yes, it does become a challenge wherein unexpected things happen, and since you have invested into this thing, you have to ensure that there is some outcome, there is some return from the investment.
Looks like Anand, I'm bringing a lot of your old memories.
Absolutely. Vinny, so most of the time I've worked in South, basically, Scindia, in Chennai or Bangalore, or at times Hyderabad also. So, Vinny, over to you, Vinny. Sorry.
No, I think interesting stories from all of you, which I can definitely correlate to, all of them in some way or the other. But I think, as I said, there is nothing like disaster. If we go for the meaning, there is always we look at things in different ways at different times. Like maybe when we were like starting our careers in marketing, we looked at the same events or the same engagements in a different way. We didn't know how to leverage what was there in front of us. So that might have been, if you might want to call it a disaster or a wrong approach. But over a period of time, with the learnings, you understand that how do you use the same platform to the best of your ability for the best of your organization, and you get results out of it. I also believe that over a period of time, I have started understanding, the dynamics of how marketing works and how it is very, very imperative that I set the expectations for my cross-functional teams in the correct way, right? When we are very, very young, we have a habit of saying yes for everything that we are being asked to do, right? Over a period of time, we understand that, we say yes, but then there are results or there is impact attached to every yes that you are saying. So I think it's important that you take a buy-in from all the people who are going to achieve success out of the investment that you are making, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's channels, whether it's your leadership team. Everybody has to be synced, because nowadays marketing is not the traditional marketing where you spend only for brand and awareness. That's not the expectation. I think that's not the expectation at all. The expectation is that every single dollar that you spend, what are you going to get me out of it? So sometimes I wonder, the word marketing has really gone, we are mini sales tech marketeers, because everybody expects a definitive pipeline from us, which is good, which is like, we also can measure all the investments that we have done. I think I would continue to, fall and learn, but the fall would not be too hard as it would have been in the past, because it would be a measured fall if I am, getting into something very, very new, which is untried, untested. But I would always like to take a integrated marketing approach, and especially in this virtual scenario, we have learned, and our teams has also learned, that we say that we have to somehow maintain a balance of how we can still go ahead and leverage virtual, because it gives us the reach, but at the same time we have to balance it out with face to face events, because the networking element that is there, or the relationship build that is there, is definitely in a face to face in person event, because in a virtual scenario we always put our best speaker, our best thought leader, right? But when it comes to the sales guys, sometimes those people who have attended your virtual CIO roundtable or something like that, they're not that impressed with our salesperson as they're impressed with the thought leader that we have put on the stage that particular day. So I think it's a permutations and combinations. You have to use your mind. There are different pieces involved each time. Just go ahead, try, and let's not do more of disasters, and let's hope that we are able to achieve success out of the investment that we're making as a marketer.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It was one of the most engaging discussions I've had in the recent past, I'll say. Okay. And I did take my notes. Neha, you talked about disaster for a tech company is to forget the value and only, focus on selling the product or the service. And then you also talked about drifting the focus from target audience, taking care of emotional, social, and inclusive agenda of the organizations. And you had also touched upon the timing, which is really critical for marketing. Scindia did mention about visibility and OKRs for the tech team, and it's important to know how the project is fitting into the overall schema of things, right? And Cindy also talked about backup plans and reducing dependencies. I won't say external dependencies, because we are also an external party to most of our clients. So I just say dependencies. And Vinny did talk about the holistic approach among sales, creative and marketing thing. Test small and then go big. I really like that idea, Vinny. There needs to be team effort with perfect RACI in place to avoid any ambiguity or misunderstanding. And then you touched also upon participative style of management, how to ensure that everybody has his buy-in from day one, right? So that brings us to the closure of our discussion for today. I really liked the discussion today. You can watch all our past Marketing Monday sessions on cxotv.news. So keep watching for more interesting upcoming sessions under Marketing Mondays. I wish you all success and a great week ahead. Stay safe and take care. Cheers. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you once again.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.